Hello, Booktube. I'm Marilyn and I'm here today to talk about our friend and fellow booktuber Janelle from Too Fond of Books. This is the second time or third time I've attempted to make this video hopefully without bursting into tears. Last Sunday, at 2 o'clock in the morning, I found out about Janelle. I was talking with another booktuber on Voxer, and she mentioned, "Isn't it sad about Janelle?" And I said, "Yeah, I know she's in the hospital." And she said, "No, have you watched Aaron's video?" Aaron is her husband. And I said, "No." And she said, "I'm so sorry. Just watch it and come back and talk to me." So I went to her channel, and the minute I saw Aaron's face, I knew. I said, no, please, no. And of course, it was true. Janelle had passed away. Now, I knew Janelle was ill. I knew that she came back from Scotland, from Edinburgh, with her husband to celebrate their 25th anniversary. And I knew she had gotten what I read was deep vein thrombosis, which is very common on long plane trips, and that she had been hospitalized. And then another message came that her cancer had returned. So I thought, okay, so they're going to give her another treatment. She's going to fight this. And I never thought she'd be gone that fast. But she is. And I'm devastated. The community has lost the most amazing person, the most amazing human being that I think I've ever met. And I'm not exaggerating. This week is the Janellathon, and I wanted to share my thoughts and my interactions with Janelle in a way that she would have appreciated. So 3 years ago, I started my booktube channel on my 70th birthday. I thought I read widely, but mysteries was my refuge, my go-to place, and still is, to forget about any problems that I had. So I started looking for fellow booktubers who loved mysteries as much as I did. And lo and behold, I came across Janelle's channel. She had just started her channel recently, and I started commenting on her channel, and she was always so pleasant to me, and we became friends. Now, don't get me wrong, I was never a close friend of Janelle in that we shared personal information. When she was battling breast cancer, she told the community, and I always gave her, in my comments, healing thoughts and prayers after every comment. And I feel in my heart that she appreciated that, though she never said anything. I just felt it. Because Janelle was such an authentic person that her honesty and beauty shone through her videos. I don't want to start crying. I wrote down a few things. We clicked and we did buddy reads eventually. And I have some special memories that I want to share with you. First of all, Janelle's knowledge of the mystery genre was vast. She was the smartest person about books in general. One of the smartest persons that I've met here on BookTube, and there's a lot of smart people here on BookTube. She loved, and if you look at her channel, she loved Golden Age mysteries, as I do. And she also loved historical mysteries. In particular, The Woman in White by Wilkie Collins, which I just read last year. It was sensational mystery, which I had never heard of, but I loved it. And those two books, she loved Agatha Christie and she loved sensational mysteries or historical mysteries. And I'm going to talk about some books that remind me of Janelle. First, I should say that two wonderful people on BookTube started the Janellathon this week. And Rainy from Rainy Day Reads, sorry, and Melissa from Libraries and Labradors. Thank you so much for doing this celebration of Janelle's life. She was, and I have to say, she was the queen of March Mystery Madness. This past March, I co-hosted, and I had some personal problems, so I told her I can't do as many videos as I would like to do, but I'm going to watch every one of your videos. And I did, except for one, which was a read-along. And I'm not really into read-alongs where people are reading together. Maybe I should be, but she was getting really into that. And but I watched every one of her videos and I commented on every one of her videos. And when I say she was the queen of March Mystery Madness, these are some of the things that I'm going to miss. Not only her wonderful recommendations, and I'm going to show you some books, like I said, but of course, how can I not say her M&M game, the M&M game? And she put a lot of work into that M&M game. And when she would pick out all the different categories that she would read next, and at the end she would eat an M&M. Yeah, I'm not a person as playful as Janelle, and she was a playful person, and she loved playing the M&M game, and we loved watching her enjoy the M&M game as well as the wonderful recommendations that she said. So that's one thing I'm going to miss about her. And also her Murder Mystery Mondays, which I watched and got some wonderful recommendations. I loved the way she always said after she would show a book, she would say, "Okay." I loved that. And yeah, I'm going to miss that. I'm going to miss that. So, yeah, I'm going to miss a lot of things about her. But I wanted to talk about why Janelle and why we love mysteries so much. Mysteries is the most popular genre after romance. And I thought I would give some clues, because I think Janelle would appreciate that, to why maybe, because I don't know for sure, why Janelle loved mysteries and why we all love mysteries, the ones that love mysteries. There are moral choices to make. And I think Janelle, and we like that. We have to make a choice, and so the detectives have to make a choice. And Janelle loved detectives. She loved Poirot. She loved Miss Marple and many, many others. It challenges our intellect to figure out who did it, who done the murder. And I've done some buddy reads with Janelle. I was honored to do some buddy reads with Janelle. One in particular that I'll talk about. But she was always trying to guess who committed the murder. That was her joy. And she had this great intellect that she was sometimes right. She said she wasn't, but she really was. So, and it's a puzzle. A mystery is a puzzle. We try to find out, to figure out the puzzle and the moral dilemmas, why people commit murders, what causes a person to do that. Um, now, um, what didn't Janelle like? She wasn't a person to rant on her videos about books she didn't like, but she would be honest and she would tell you, I didn't really care for that. And the clues about what she didn't care about, what she didn't care for, well, she didn't like gratuitous sex or violence. She didn't like that. She really disliked when an amateur detective, especially, broke the law in order to find out who committed the crime. She always said she didn't like that. And that tells you, that's a clue to Janelle's, her great moral code that she had, that you can see, that you could see through the video. And she loved history. So she loved historical mysteries. And I think her love of travel was part of that. She loved to learn about different cultures and different ways that people across the world solve mysteries. She loved that. And why we all love mysteries, it's escapist. We forget our own problems. We go into another world. That's reading in general. One memory that I just wanted to share, I knew how, if you've seen her library vault, you know how many books she had in general, and they weren't all mysteries. She loved Jane Austen, and we both shared the love of Jane Austen July and Persuasion, was both of our favorite of Jane Austen's books. She loved many type of books. If you've seen her library tours, you can see all the different, from religious books, and that's also a hint that she was a spiritual person, though she never talked about it on her channel. But you can, she was the best kind of religious person in that she never tried to judge anyone, and she was friendly to everyone, no matter who they were. And that's what I believe religious people ought to exude. And she exuded love. That's what she exuded. And I found that out. So we were going to do a buddy read. And she hadn't really read too much of Patricia Wentworth, the Miss Silver novels. I was introduced by two other booktubers. But I went online and just put in on Google, what were the better Patricia Wentworth, Miss Silver novels, mysteries? And I came up with Pilgrim's Rest. I had never read it, heard of it. So I suggested it to her. She said, oh, I have that book somewhere, but I never read it. And we read it together. And it gave me so much joy how much she loved that book. And that's a memory that I'll always remember, because she said, wow, I love this book. Thank you, Marilyn, for giving me this book, for reading this with me. And we read another Patricia Wentworth after that. But that's a memory I am going to cherish. I'm going to cherish that memory, that I introduced her to a book that she had never, that she heard of but never read. And that was very unusual. Before I get this video too long, I want to show you, I'm not going to do the prompts for the Janellathon, because I read many mysteries almost every week. In fact, my last video was a haul that I was a book sale haul, and coincidentally, or maybe not coincidentally, many of the books that I picked out were books that I was recommended by Janelle. And I want to talk about some books that I picked out just for this Janellathon. How could I not talk about Janelle without talking about her love of Indian historical mysteries? And she talked about this book. It's The Case of the Missing Servant by Tarquin Hall. It says, "Meet Vishy Puri, India's most private detective." So, and this is written, like I said, by Tarquin Hall, New York Times notable crime book. But she had, I don't know if she read this book. She had presented it on her channel, and I found this at the book sale. But a book that I don't have, and I just ordered from my library, was a book with baby Ganesh, the book with the elephants, and with his pet elephant. And I'm going to tell you about that in a second. So the novel is the Baby Ganesh Detective Agency Novels by Vaseem Khan. And she always talked about those that detective who, now his first book, I'm going to, I think I sent for it, and it's called The Unexpected Inheritance of Inspector Chopra. So Inspector Chopra has a baby elephant, so it's Baby Ganesh. That's why it's Baby Ganesh. And she would talk about that series. She loved that series so much. And when I was at the book sale, I found a book that reminded me of it. It's not about India. It's called Trouble in Nuala, but it has elephants in it, and that reminded me of Janelle, and I just picked it up. And this is set in Nuala, which is Ceylon, or was Ceylon, in the 1930s. So this reminded me of Janelle as well. Another book that reminded me of Janelle, and I had tried it in the middle of the series, but I didn't really like it. But this one's called to me, and it's Alexander McCall Smith's Tea for the Traditionally Built. And this is a book, she loved this series, Janelle, and it's the #1 ladies detective agency series. And I already ordered the first one, which is #1 lady detective. And it's about a woman detective in Botswana. So I talked about this one already. But when I was at the book sale, I got a book that reminded me of Janelle right there. And it was called 44 Scotland Street. This is another series by Alexander McCall Smith that is set in Edinburgh. So I got this before I knew about Janelle. So is that something that, I don't know if they call it kismet or there's another word for it, where you feel something inside, but you don't know what it is. But it seemed like every book reminded me of Janelle at that sale. And now I just want to talk about 2 other books. A book that she told me had the worst person in it. It was an Agatha Christie, and it was Appointment with Death. And I don't know what that is. If you know what that is, let me know. But and it just says, to know Mrs. Boynton was to hate her. And she told me that was maybe the worst person that she's read about in an Agatha Christie. So I might have read it when I was in my 20s, but yeah. I want to read it again in honor of Janelle. And a series that I actually bought that probably wouldn't have bought is Mabel Seeley, The Listening House. She had talked about the chuckling fingers, and I brought that back to the library, but it looked just like this. And it's about the Depression era, and in this one, Gwen Docris moves into a seedy and sinister boarding house where she exposes deadly secrets in this classic mystery. And it really has a lot about the working woman and how it has a lot of women's lib in it in a good way. And so, after losing her copywriting job, young Gwen Dacres seeks a place to live when she stumbles upon Mrs. Gar's old boarding house. This was really good for the setting of the 30s, how poor people were and how they were looking for jobs. And I really enjoyed this so much. And of course, I think about Janelle because there are so many books that I read because of Janelle. So those are the few memories that I wanted to share about Janelle. She is going to be so missed in this community and in the world in general. And I want to give my condolences to her husband and her family, as well as to the community here. We have lost a special person, a gem, and I hope that you watch Janelle's videos. Her husband graciously has kept it up, kept her channel up as in memoriam to her. But beside that, it's a memoriam to her. It's also a great place to get recommendations for mysteries. And I hope that everyone will watch her videos to see that genuineness that I'm talking about. And I'm going to miss her so much. I'm going to miss her so much. And I'm going to end this video here and say thank you so much for watching. I hope I haven't rambled too long. I just wanted to share with you and with the community of how much this community means to me. And when we lose someone, how torn up we get, just like if it was a person in our own family. And that's the way I felt about Janelle, like she was a family member. So thank you again. Until I come back again with another video, aloha.